Welcome in, everybody, to the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. My, oh my, what an Eagles victory. I know a lot of people are more thinking, moral loss. They won, but moral loss. Me, no. I'm not thinking that. Not thinking that even a little bit. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking good teams find a way to win, and Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the NFL. But Mark, he had a really bad fumble. No. I know it was the first play of the second half. I know you were hoping that everything was going to turn around. I know you were hoping that the Eagles were going to really start their comeback right then and there. And so did I. But that fumble wasn't on Jalen Hurts. That fumble was on, scheme more than anything. And how the hell, and I don't think he was, but Miles Sanders not yelling that Yannick Ngakoue was coming the way of Jalen Hurts, that would obviously force a fumble in that situation. That was a bigger problem right there. Anytime I see Miles Sanders blocking a elite pass rusher like someone like Yannick Ngakoue, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's more on scheme than anything else. So I was not a fan of that play. But bottom line, when push came to shove in that fourth quarter, Jalen Hurts dominated, especially towards the end. I felt in that fourth quarter for Jalen Hurts, it was, everybody, I'll do it myself. Because whatever Gus Bradley drew up to defend against the Eagles, and Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni and everybody else, whatever he drew up, it worked. This offense didn't know whether they were coming or going. And one of the most desperate moves I saw, there were two things from Nick Sirianni yesterday that drove me up a wall, like main things that drove me up a wall. The first one was the 4th and 10. What the hell are you doing? 4th and 10? And you're going to give them the ball back at midfield? No. Said after the game, might have wanted that one back. He felt like they could go for it. Felt like they could go for the first down. Didn't work out. So what are you going to do? They won the game anyway. Okay, fine. I didn't like it. Didn't like it even a little bit. The other thing was you get the ball at 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. If they were 2 yards closer, you would have given that ball to Jalen Hurts for the quarterback sneak. You would have done it. You're 2 yards farther away. You decide, I'm not going to just hand the ball to Miles Sanders and give him a crack at it behind the offensive line. Instead, with that 1st and goal from the 4, you have a situation there where Jalen Hurts drops back to pass. Excuse me, 1st and goal from the 2. If that goal, so let me start that over. If you were 1 yard closer, you would have went with the quarterback sneak on 1st and goal from the 1. The fact that you're 1st and goal from the 2, I got to pass. This is a passing down. No, still run the ball. You just don't quarterback sneak it. You hand the ball to your running back, Miles Sanders, who runs up the middle for hopefully a touchdown. That would have been nice. And what's interesting about this is that later, and you'll hear Nick Sirianni say it, in crucial moments in the game, and I would consider not being on the board yet a crucial moment in the game. It's your first time in the red zone. You have an opportunity to punch in and tie the score at 7-all in this scenario in the first quarter, late in the second quarter. And instead of handing the ball to Miles Sanders, you have Jalen Hurts drop back a pass, incomplete. Next is the high snap from Jason Kelce. Not you too, Jason. Don't you be one of the guys making mistakes in the last 2 games. But he was, and he was, it sucked, but he owned it. And then Jalen Hurts scrambled on 3rd down, couldn't get the first down, or couldn't get the touchdown, rather. So then they ended up kicking the field goal, and it's 7-3 at this point. The Colts come back with another possession. They get a field goal. Next thing you know, they're at 10-3 now, so you're in a little bit of a hole. But that first play in the red zone, the 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, hand the ball to Miles Sanders. Hey, Miles, do what you do behind this offensive line, behind this embarrassment of riches. And he doesn't do that. That drove me a little crazy there about Nick Sirianni. The second one was that 4th and 10. That going forward on that 4th and 10 reeked of desperation. At that point in the game, you were down 13-10. And I guess you thought you were supposed to get something started, but you didn't. But there were a lot of mistakes. Both tight ends that were filling in there, Jack Stahl and Grant Calcaterra, had penalties in this game. Shot themselves in the foot. The Kelce penalty, the A.J. Brown drop, the fumble, rather. There were a couple of different instances. And the Josiah Scott pass breakup that had to get reviewed for whatever reason is just bonkers to me that it had to get reviewed, but it did. That was an example of something going your way in a way. But I think I've covered the mistakes in this game from Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen stuff, whatever. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't a well-coached game. But in that fourth quarter, and this is the biggest thing, in that fourth quarter, Jalen Hurts took over. And before I go any further on Jalen Hurts, I do want to give you our Farzy 5 for this game. I'm going to start it off with a pair, all right? Named Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. For guys that just joined the team this week, and I remind you that Ndamukong Suh didn't join the Eagles physically until 11 p.m. Thursday night. They combined for 7 tackles, Suh and Joseph combined for 7 tackles and 1 sack in this game, each splitting a half a sack. Not bad for guys that have been Eagles for like 20 minutes, okay? And just before the show, the snap count numbers came out. Linval Joseph in his first game as an Eagle, 26 snaps for 40% of the plays. Suh was out there for 17 snaps for 26% of the plays. And again, 7 tackles combined and 1 sack. Not too bad. And that 1 sack, by the way, came at a good time when the Eagles were still trying to get back or still trying to get into this ball game as far as getting a touchdown on the board. Came in the third quarter with the Colts up 13-3, and the Eagles, unfortunately, went 3 and out on the next possession. But in that fourth quarter, some good things happened. I got Hassan Reddick coming in at number 4 on this list. That sack that he had on the 3rd and goal situation after that deep pass to, I believe it was Paris Campbell, that put them back in the red zone, put them back within like 5 yards of another touchdown that would have put the game out of reach at that point in time. Hassan Reddick came in off the edge, beat his man, and was able to get the sack in that situation to hold them to a field goal and only allowed them their 16th point of that game. So Hassan Reddick comes in at number 4. At number 3, another man with a sack. My man, Brandon Graham. Before I go any further on that, Brandon Graham, this was his mindset on his sack that helped end that game for the Eagles.
You know, what's so cool about it is, last game, I cost the team on that last penalty, even though, there was a lot of stuff happening in the game, just like this one. A lot of stuff happened. I was just happy to, make up for that.
That right there, first off, Brandon, I appreciate you being hard on yourself. I appreciate you saying that it'll cost them a game. You didn't cost them a game. Let me just get this out of the way. We've all covered it. There was a lot of mistakes Monday night against the Commanders. Brandon Graham made a mistake, and it was barely a mistake, but hardly egregious compared to what else happened in that game. But thank you for ownership. That's nice. It was man-to-man right there. It was one-on-one. The Reddick sack and the Graham sack, I know a lot of times people look at the sack count, like, oh, so aggressive in this game. Jonathan Gannon, so aggressive. They rushed 4. There was no blitz. There was no extra pressure. There's nothing like that. It wasn't over-aggressive. It was a man winning his battle. Hassan Reddick was a man winning his battle. At number 3 here, Brandon Graham. It was a man winning his battle. And it helped seal the game for the Eagles. Brandon Graham, huge on this list. At number 2, I never do this. I may never do this again. Because you could name this man in every loss and every win. Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman is the executive of the year. And I hate, and we went through a lot of this a couple of years ago when Carson Wentz was still the quarterback here. We're like, oh, they got to get Carson help. This offensive line is broken down. How does Howie Roseman go into the season with these guys? This defense is bad. How do we go into the season with this? How does Howie Roseman go into the season like this? And you can name him every single game for any outcome. But when you specifically lose the time of possession battle by double, where the Commanders double your time of possession, you can't stop the run, you can't get off the field on 3rd down, and you have another team with an okay, not great running back just run the ball down your throat, and then from Monday night to Sunday afternoon, you go out there and you add Linval Joseph, and you say, you know what? But wait, there's more. And then you add Ndamukong Suh, and then you come out with a much better performance against the run, where you limit Jonathan Taylor, by the way. Let me see if I still have this in my notes. I should, but you guys know me. I never know what I do with my notes. But if you look at the difference between the first possession of the game, first drive, Jonathan Taylor rushed 7 times for 49 yards, 7 yards per carry and a touchdown. First drive of the game. From that point on, the Eagles defense, including Howie Roseman's latest additions, Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, they held Jonathan Taylor to under 4 yards per carry. 3.8 yards per carry, no touchdowns, 15 for 35 in that scenario. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and name Howie Roseman when it comes to the top 5 here for this ballgame. I'm going to go ahead and mention Howie Roseman. After Howie, there's only one other guy, and that's Jalen Hurts. That's what MVPs do, people. MVPs show themselves in the fourth quarter beyond anything else. Sure, we'd all like them to dominate throughout. Oh, this game wasn't even just 50-0, thanks to what Jalen Hurts was doing on the offensive side of the football. Yeah, that'd be great. That doesn't always happen. If there's a lot of BS that happens throughout a game, I want it to be Jalen Hurts that is saying, to hell with this. We're going to win this game. We talk about it a lot when it comes to guys just taking over games, whether or not you're going to be the most valuable player. We talk about guys like Bryce Harper. Yeah, oh, hell, we ain't losing this. And him rising to the occasion time and time again. World Series, but still got to the World Series, basically what Bryce Harper was doing throughout that year, and what Bryce Harper did in the playoffs. We talk about a lot with Joel Embiid. To hell with this. We're winning this basketball game. That's exactly what Jalen Hurts did yesterday. To hell with this. We're winning this football game. Defense came up with stops. No doubt about it. This was a defensive star of the show for the vast majority of this game. But when you needed them points, Jalen Hurts was stepping up and making those points happen. Whether it was Quez Watkins coming up with that touchdown on a perfect pass to open up that fourth quarter by Jalen Hurts that put it right in the hands in stride of Quez Watkins. Again, the hard work of Jalen Hurts in the offseason pays off. A bullet dots the eye for Quez Watkins to run that for that touchdown. Then that last drive that the Eagles had, I think Gus Bradley is a great defensive coordinator. I don't know what happened on that play, but Jalen Hurts dropped back on that 3rd and goal. And I think it was John McMullen in the press conference after the game that just came out and said the Red Sea opened up. And Jalen Hurts, man, Jalen Hurts was like Moses through the Red Sea. And what he did in that fourth quarter was nothing short of dazzling. He was precise. He ran well. He knew how to have soft touches on his ball. He was incredible. Even the deep ball to Miles Sanders with that huge pass interference penalty, that was a great, perfect thrown ball. And Miles Sanders knew what he had to do in that situation to draw the pass interference call. And on top of that, Miles Sanders, according to Nick Sirianni, after the game was running off the sideline, and he said, "Coach, I'm on the teach tape." Meaning the way he played that ball to get that possession was going to be on the teach tape. Like, this is how you do it. They knew what they were doing in that fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts was the biggest part of that fourth quarter. And his execution on that last play of the game and the offensive line's execution on the last play of that game was perfect. And of all the play calls throughout that game, without question, that was the one that made me go, okay, whatever it was that they saw, they knew that they could exploit the middle of that field. And what's just bonkers to me is that if you're Gus Bradley, who's going to be getting the play call. And instead of covering Jalen Hurts with a quarterback spy and letting, just making sure it wasn't going to be as easy as the Red Sea opening up for Jalen Hurts to just trot into the end zone, and then whatever the hell the Colts mascot is with whatever the hell he was doing. But Jalen Hurts runs right up the field. Nobody touches him. And he goes in for the game-winning touchdown. That's what MVPs do. Our friend over at Jeff Carr over at CBS Sports put in there. Check this out. Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter or overtime this season, 28 of 38. That's 73.7 for a completion percentage of 73.7. 303 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 120.8 passer rating, second best in the NFL. He's also rushed for 141 yards and a touchdown and on 42 carries. That's what MVPs look like right there. That's what MVPs look like. Who's first? I don't know. It wasn't tweeted. But that's pretty spectacular. And knowing that you have that guy in your back pocket in the fourth quarter is a pretty damn good feeling. There wasn't a chance there to go through the game now. There was a chance in that fourth quarter where I was just a little bit worried, and we'll get to that. But let's start it off with this. Just take you through my emotions. And I know Nick Sirianni was very emotional after this game, and we'll get to him. But in particular, looking at this game, here's what was wild. First quarter, they basically the Colts come out with a big run, and they come out with Jonathan Taylor and Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph came up with plays in that first quarter, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to stop Jonathan Taylor. Then he gets the touchdown right out of the gate, opening drive, 7-0 Colts. All right, they got their rushing touchdown. Hopefully, this isn't a game where you're just continuously running the football and the Eagles can't do anything about it because Howie Roseman specifically went out there to get two guys that would plug up the middle of the line. Second quarter. Hurts gets first down scramble on a 3rd and 5. You think things are starting to come together. He has a 3rd and 8 first down to Watkins a little bit later. Good to get him involved. Hurts then scrambles for 12 to get a first down. That's up the 1st and goal situation that I was going through earlier. 1st and goal. They don't give it to Sanders. This is the second quarter. They ended up just waiting and holding out for the field goal there. It's now 7-3. Colts come right back with the field goal. Then you go in the halftime down 10-3. Third quarter, you come out, first play of the game. Hurts fumbles the football because Miles Sanders or Shane Steichen or whatever the hell happened on that play. Bottom line is you had Sanders on Ngakoue. Never a good idea. I think I said it on Twitter. Not ideal. Not ideal. Josiah Scott comes up with a good pass breakup that still has to get reviewed. Colts end up settling for the field goal. Now it's 13-3. You have the 4th and 10. You get nothing out of it. Bonkers play call to me. That's what Nick Sirianni decided to go to when it was 13-3. They don't get it. Suh and Joseph come up with a sack. Eagles get the ball back. You go 3 and out with Sanders getting stopped up the middle. Williams ends up getting a great sack. Milton Williams, friend of the show. Milton Williams comes with a great sack. Colts end up missing that field goal towards the end of the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, the Jalen Hurts show. Jalen Hurts gets the big scramble with about 13:30 left in the ball game. He hits Watkins for the touchdown. That was about 13:30 left of the game after Hurts' scramble. It's now 13-10. And then you get the Taylor fumble. Epps forces it out. Edwards comes up with it. Brown gives it right back with a fumble. That A.J. Brown fumble in the fourth quarter, I probably did what a lot of you guys did, what a lot of you guys did, which was, it's a repeat of last week. It's a repeat of last week. It's a repeat of Monday night. No matter what we do, something's going to happen where one guy's going to mess it up. Snake bit. What did I say last week? I highlighted, I forget who it was on Twitter. I said, this is the game where you're playing on Madden and the computer just decides you're losing no matter what. Yeah, it kind of is how it felt. When A.J. Brown fumbled that ball, and A.J. Brown has a lot of experience against the Colts from his times with the Titans. We all know that. But I didn't expect him to be the one that got us. I didn't expect it. And, man, he got us. He got us. Brown gives it right back. Paris Campbell has the big catch on third down. Puts him deep in the red zone. I believe it was like the 5-yard line. Then Reddick comes up with the sack on the 3rd and goal. Sanders draws the PI. Hurts touchdown. Brandon Graham sack. How great is this? In that fourth quarter, two guys that did get you a little bit there. Maybe needed a little bit of redemption. Watkins more so than Graham. Needed a little bit of redemption. Got it in this fourth quarter. Watkins had the touchdown to pull you to within 3. Then Brandon Graham helped seal the game. Two guys that needed a little scotch, if you will, of redemption from the game against Commanders. Stepped up and made big plays for you in this game, in this fourth quarter against the Colts to help give you the 17-16 win. Not pretty. Not how I would have drawn it up. I knew it was going to be a close game. I didn't think it'd be a 1-point game. I didn't think the Eagles would score below 20 points, to be honest with you. But Gus Bradley did a great job against this offense. Did a great job for the most part against Jalen Hurts. But in that fourth quarter, Jalen Hurts said, to hell with this. We're winning this game. And that's exactly what took place. And the defense was pretty stout throughout this game. Pretty stout throughout this game. And I am very impressed with the 26 snaps from Joseph and the 17 snaps from Ndamukong Suh. Not too shabby. All right, let's get into what some of these fine gentlemen had to say after the game. Let's start off. Folks, I'm going to tell you this. I hope you have love in your life. I hope everyone has love in their life. I hope that you have someone in your life that loves you as much as Nick Sirianni loves Frank Reich. That's what I wish for all of you. And in case you didn't see him, in case you were flipping over to the Dallas Cowboys stomping the Minnesota Vikings yesterday, which, by the way, I don't root ever for the Cowboys. And that was a big point of discussion yesterday on Twitter. Are you rooting for the Cowboys? Can you root for the Cowboys? First off, no. But what I can root for is the best possible scenario to come out for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's what I was rooting for yesterday. So I wasn't there going, yeah, Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, Tony Pollard. Come on, Dak Prescott. Like, I wasn't doing that. But I did want the best outcome to happen for the Eagles. And in this case, the best outcome was the Vikings losing. And that's what happened. So I want the best. I'm rooting for the best scenario. That's what I'm rooting for. I'm not rooting for the Cowboys. That's ridiculous. That's preposterous. Is pretentious language the right way to phrase that, I guess? Whatever. It's how I want it. It's biased, maybe. I don't know. But it's not rooting for the Cowboys. It's rooting for the best outcome for the Eagles. And the Giants losing yesterday, teamed with the Cowboys winning yesterday, more so the Vikings losing yesterday. And then, the Commanders all of a sudden, now they're great. Taylor Heinicke, MVP, whatever. The best scenario happened for the Eagles yesterday. So that's what I root for. I digress. Back to Nick Sirianni. Find someone who loves you the way Nick Sirianni loves Frank Reich. This is how jacked up on Mountain Dew Nick Sirianni was for Frank Reich.
I'm emotional because I love Frank Reich. I really do. And he's one of the best damn football coaches I've ever been around. So, yeah. I was hoping that him and I would be able to coach against each other in this game. But he's one of my biggest mentors. I got my dad, I got Larry Karras, and I got Frank Reich. And Frank's such a good football coach. And you don't want to know what I think of if he should be here or not, but because you guys can probably imagine what I really think. I love him, and so I got a little bit emotional about that, and it was good to see the guys that I really cared about and some of the things that, Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly and Paris Campbell, I got to talk to them after the game, and Kenny Moore. So that means a lot when they say some things that are, obviously I keep those things to myself, but spent a lot of time here. My kids, one of my children was born here, and it was sweet to come here, especially with what happened in this organization in the last couple weeks, and get the win. The win. We live in Indianapolis with a win.
I like people that are emotional. So I like John Tortorella. I like Nick Sirianni. I like emotional people. I like people that you can look at and be like, I know how that guy feels. If Nick Sirianni, and he kind of did, because he got a shot of him, the camera's got a shot of him right after the game, like right the clock struck zeros. And he went over to it looked like there was a group, which is funny to say this in a road game, but it was a group of like maybe 2 Colts fans, and they were bookended by 2 Eagles fans. And they're right behind the Eagles bench. So it made me think, like, did Nick Sirianni know these people? Like, were they his tickets that he gave away in that little section? I don't know. But anyway, he goes up to the group that were in the Colts attire, and he like pointed his finger at him and said something, and then came back to the sideline. This was very personal for him, and obviously shows. He wanted, if he could have walked up to Jim Irsay after the game, and maybe he did, he probably would have given him the finger. He probably would have done something like that. Because you know this. When your boy gets fired, you talk to your boy. I have no doubt in my mind Nick Sirianni has talked to Frank Reich. Yes, they talk. I have no doubt in my mind that Frank Reich said some stuff that went on behind the scenes that Nick Sirianni did not like. And nobody wants to see their boy get stabbed in the back. And anytime that happens, just know that vengeance is coming. And Nick Sirianni wanted to win this game. They talked about it afterwards, and that's what prompted that question. That's what prompted that answer, I should say, from Nick Sirianni, because I think it was Tim McManus said that Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick had both said that Nick Sirianni was a little bit more fired up. He was a little bit more emotional after a game like this. Today, the film's going to come out of Nick Sirianni in the locker room with his little notes, be like, defense, hell of a game, hell of a game. Jalen Hurts, you're my quarterback. Where's my guy? Where'd he go? Special teams. Thanks for the coming out. All right. And, what he does. And he's going to be like, this game, if I can preview for you what Nick Sirianni's going to be in the locker room, he's going to take the notes out and he's going to go, put the notes away, and he's going to go, this game, you guys know, it meant something to me, meant a lot to me, and you guys went out there and you did it! You got it! Yeah, I love everyone! And then hopefully he tosses a game ball to Howie Roseman, who was standing outside the locker room. Hopefully it was in the locker room at that point. He was invited in and tossed him a game ball for getting him Linval Joseph and Dominican Sue. Yeah, Frank Reich is loved by Nick Sirianni. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And you know what? If it helped motivate the head coach this week, if it helped motivate the team this week, then I'm all for it. Here is Nick Sirianni, the winning plays from yesterday's game. One was Jalen Hurts' scramble. The other was Brandon Graham's sack. Here is Nick Sirianni on those two plays and what went into them.
You put the ball in your players' hands that you trust to make the plays at that time. I think you keep seeing it that, like, when we need a drive, when we need some points, when we need, you can always lean on our offensive line, right? You can always lean on him. And then Jalen's special with the ball in his hands, and he made, that thing opened up. I was looking at the play, and then I kind of looked over at Kevin, and Kevin Petula was going crazy, and because I kind of put my head down just for a second with what happened on that, and then he executed and we scored, and it was pretty sweet. But we knew we had to get a stop, and those defensive ends earn the right to pass rush in that scenario, and we got a great pass rush and we got a great defense. I'm just, as you guys say, I'm excited about this win.
Yeah, you're a little excited. We can all tell you're a little excited. Like, did you see him walking off the field, like into the tunnel and down into the locker room? He was like, his arms just like, my man was jacked up. He was jacked up. Jalen Hurts, again, here's his numbers in the fourth quarter. Just bonkers. 120.8 passer rating, 114 yards rushing. And this is fourth quarter overtime this season. Yeah, he's pretty damn good. But Jalen Hurts says, hey, it's not all about me. It's not all about me.
Our offensive line, they did a great job giving us time. Receivers made plays when we needed them, and we were able to find a way to win in the end of the game. And that's no one individual doing that. However it may look, that's all of us doing it together. That's the belief we have in one another, the trust we have in one another, because it's no man is an island. You got to draw your strength from others, and everybody is dependent on the next man.
Jalen Hurts right there. No man is an island. I always love that. And look, in all honesty, when it comes to my top five for this game, I mean, you could really sprinkle the offensive line in throughout this game. I mentioned Joseph. I mentioned Sue many times already. Jason Kelce had the bad snap there in the second and goal situation for the Eagles in the first quarter. That's obviously a bit of a rough one. Excuse me, the second quarter. But overall, this offensive line was great. I thought they did a great job yesterday, especially on that last play. It looked like there wasn't even a defensive line out there. They just moved guys, and it opened up the middle of the field like nobody's business. And who did he foul? Was it Miles Sanders in front of him? But yeah, Jalen Hurts just trotted into the end zone. Eagles now sole best record in the NFL at 9-1. They bounce back from a horrific loss, like a gut-wrenching loss to the Washington Commanders. You might say, you kind of felt like you were going to lose throughout that game, but you had different opportunities that were teases, and each time you were pushed away from that, that's a tease. You were teased with, we can get a Quez Watkins fumble. There's a face mask right there, not called fumble, going the other way. Great. Things like that. Brandon, they got to stop right there. It's a penalty on Brandon Graham. Stuff like that drives you crazy. This win was also huge because Dallas Goedert is an integral part of this offense. And it's not about catches. It's not about yards. It's not even about touchdowns. It's about maintaining possession. It's about overall being a better offense. And I think it was John McMullen yesterday that said on the pregame show with Jacob Media, the biggest drop-off talent-wise from starter to backup on this team is at the tight end position. And I don't think there's any argument for anything else. The biggest drop-off at the position for the depth chart is tight end 1 to tight end 2 and 3. I think you have one of the best in the league. I mean, one of the best in the league. Top 3 in the league of tight ends. At worst, third. And he's no longer on the football field for you. I'll go back to it again in case people haven't heard me say this, because I think it's one of the most important things to say about Dallas Goedert and why he is so integral to this offense. If you go back 3 years ago, I want to say 4 years ago, Eagles were playing their second game of the season in Atlanta. Remember this game? Deshaun Jackson was on the Eagles for this. Carson Wentz was your quarterback. They go into Atlanta. There was talk about closing the dome in Atlanta and it changing the pressure, and people went out with soft tissue injuries, and Deshaun Jackson was one of them, and Dallas Goedert was one of them, and I want to say Alshon Jeffrey was another. All of a sudden, you lost a lot of your offense. After that game, I remember being at the NovaCare complex on that Tuesday, I think it was, and talking to Jason Kelce and asking Jason Kelce about the effect Dallas Goedert had on this offense and what was the biggest thing. And people were like, oh, talking about Deshaun Jackson. People were talking about Alshon Jeffrey. And then Jason Kelce talks about not having Dallas Goedert, who, if I'm not mistaken, was either a rookie or a second-year player at the time. And because he wasn't there, they had to throw out the vast majority of their playbook because they weren't going to have the blocking ability of Dallas Goedert. Sure, the pass-catching ability, the receiver, Dallas Goedert. But what they missed more so was Dallas Goedert. And their run game basically got a match lit to it because they didn't have Dallas Goedert. Now, you might say, oh, that's overvaluing a player in that situation because they ended up losing that game. Yeah, you could say that. But I don't think he's going to the great lengths of trying to make the point of how Dallas Goedert is to the game plan. I don't think he's doing that for nothing. I think he's making a pretty profound statement about how integral Dallas Goedert is to just what makes this offense go. What a big cog in the wheel Dallas Goedert is to this offense rolling without any hitches. And that's what he brings to the table. And as I'm watching this offense struggle, as I'm watching them not be able to solve Gus Bradley for the vast majority of this football game, I'm thinking, oh my God. I've been talking about Jalen Hurts as the MVP, but Dallas Goedert might be pretty close there to at least the Eagles. It's funny. One guy might be the MVP of the league. The other guy might be the MVP of the Eagles. It's funny to think about that. Let me tell you about a man who's the MVP of jewelry, and that's Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. One place, one price, the perfect price each and every day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. What do you get at Steven Singer? You get the perfect price. Now, what's the perfect price? Well, some jewelers like to mark things way up, just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you. Make it feel like you got some kind of great deal. Put it there, partner. Not at Steven Singer Jewelers. At Steven Singer Jewelers, you know what you get? You get that perfect price every single day. So he doesn't mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you, because that right there is the perfect price. And you feel comfortable without having to negotiate, without having to haggle. And that's what Steven Singer provides. And it's not just that. You're a valued customer. You get treated like a real family member at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. So do what I do. When it comes to all your jewelry purchases, trust one man, the man with the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com, or walk right in there at the other corner of 8th and Walnut and experience it for yourself. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the amazing people at Manscaped? Manscaped.com, 20% off. When you use promo code Farzy, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. You can take advantage of their best bundle yet with the Platinum Package 4.0. It includes the 4.0 trimmer, the lawnmower, and Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, And they both come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks, so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Also, you want to make sure that you check out their incredible deals on Manscaped at manscaped.com. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. How about the incredible people at Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You like CBD? You use CBD? Freestone Farm CBD is the way to go. You'll enjoy their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Generics of these guys are off the charts. So enjoy Freestone Farm CBD. It's perfect for anyone looking to take a more natural approach to everything they put in their body. Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about Mojo and the Mojo app? Jalen Hurts stock might be going up again. Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. Available in New Jersey on iOS. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Those people that don't know what Mojo is yet, come on. Download Mojo to your phone. 300 players in the NFL, from wide receivers to tight ends to quarterbacks to running backs. They all have a share price attached to them, a stock price attached to them. Their stock prices rise and fall throughout the season, just like a stock would. And it can be affected by anything that affects their on-field play. News, injury, anything. Stock goes up or down. Buy low, sell high. Najee Harris out there for the Steelers. Hell of a game yesterday, albeit in a loss. Heck of a game. Stock could be going up after this one, so you can check that out on Mojo, mojo.com. Once again, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. How about the amazing people at PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check, see how you guys are doing after a victory yesterday with the Eagles being able to bounce back in this game. Kevin, hello, Kevin. April, what's up, April? Mally. Sean, I'm going to say it. Last 3 games, this team is confusing. The Eagles? Yes, that'd be confusing. Very confusing. The Texans, they won. Good. On the road, fine. Commanders lost at home. Ugly game. Womp, womp. This game against the Colts, I was just waiting for that moment for Jalen Hurts to take over, in all honesty. I think it was the big scramble he had to start out that drive in the fourth quarter. Was that the drive? Yeah. To open up the fourth quarter, he has the big scramble. Then he hits Watkins for the touchdown. That was the moment I went, okay, just got to be Jalen Hurts now. I don't care if it's a one read and go. Some people knock him for that. It's one read and go with him. Well, sometimes if you're having trouble as an offense figuring out what the hell the defense is doing, and Gus Bradley did a good job at disguising whatever the hell he was doing throughout this game, and you're also missing a guy like Dallas Goedert in this offense, then yeah, it takes a minute to try to figure things out. And Jalen Hurts is still learning. Like, we've talked about all the improvement. Well, here's the thing. He's 24 years old. I don't even think he's reached his ceiling yet. You get into that fourth quarter, you get in the crunch time. Hey, man, do what makes you comfortable. If doing what makes you comfortable is also breeding success, stick with it. Jalen Hurts scrambled. Then later he completed the pass down the middle of the field to Quez Watkins on a bullet. So, yeah, I am a fan of that. So that's what I like. Let's see here. What else we got? Eagles need to remember. This is from Sean. Eagles need to remember these last 3 games and learn from them. Put them on a wall, not repeat the same mistakes. I concur. A.J. Brown, what the hell? Quez Watkins had the fumble this week. What was it, your turn? Come on, man. Love A.J. Brown. He knows what he did. Brandon Graham certainly learned from a mistake. One thing that did freak me out, when I'm listening to Brandon Graham, he said he didn't see him. He didn't see Matt Ryan until the last second, so he just kept going. And I was thinking to myself, that's exactly what got you into trouble last week. Ended up not being a problem. Ended up being a big benefit, which is, again, it shows you how hard this game is with the rules they've implemented against the defense. I don't think Brandon Graham saw Taylor Heinicke last week until right before he touched him. I think he thought that Taylor Heinicke slipped and was trying to get back up because Graham said last week, I thought he was going to get back up. It just shows how difficult it is to make the rules, yes, with the idea of safety, And I know we can't talk about that after Dallas Goedert's fumble and face mask that wasn't called, but they are trying to make the game safer. There's a big detriment to defensive players who are taught from the time they put on pads for the first time. Full speed till you hear the whistle. Full speed till you hear the whistle. That's tough. Morning, Alyssa. April says, yeah, they're trying to figure out who they are, Mally. Mally, I agree. April, I agree with that statement. Alyssa, good morning. I have... let's keep going. Mally, so I'm also guessing since Dallas beat Minnesota, their win is different than when the Birds embarrassing them. Yeah, the Cowboys, because they stomped all over the Vikings, and the Eagles only stomped on the Vikings, that the Cowboys are the better team, according to some people. No. I didn't like the Vikings yesterday. I didn't like the Vikings winning, even though they were going home. After them with the very emotional win, crazy win against the Bills, going home. Yeah, I didn't like the Vikings winning yesterday. I think the Cowboys got them at a good time. Alyssa, you notice that? I am not mature. I'm not mature. I can't help it. If I say two guys with a sack, I like, what do you want me to do there? Like, I don't mean to say it. It's the way whatever. Let me ask you this total aside here, okay? Well, not total, because it has to do with how immature I am. We had to get have you guys ever had to get a tree removed or a tree trimmed? A friend of mine described it the best as the worst money you'll ever spend. It's like, oh, you want that tree removed? $5,000. I'm sorry, what's it come? Huh? Oh, you want a tree removed? That'll be $15,000. You're just making up numbers. But anyway, literally, my wife and I had to get a ginormous maple tree trimmed in our backyard. I'll tell you, we were lucky. It only cost like $3,000. But the tree guy comes out and he's looking at the tree. And I want to say the guy was like 60. And he's looking at our tree and he goes, well, I mean, you don't have to remove the tree. You don't have to remove the tree. I would just trim it. You trim it back right here, because I'll show you right here. Look, right here. And he slaps the tree and he goes, right here, the tree's got a great crotch. Okay, where my hand is the crotch. You know the crotch of a tree? This is the crotch of a tree. And he's palming what is now being identified for the first time in my life as the crotch of a tree. And he's palming it. And he's like, the crotch of the tree is really strong. So this is good. And then like up here, you got another crotch up there where it splits, and that's good. And another crotch on the other side. So like the balance is good. And you got strong crotches. So you don't really need to, you just trim it. You don't need to get rid of it. I am not exaggerating. There were about 10 crotches in 1 minute. And I said, I'm giggling. And I'm trying to be mature. And I go, my man, you can't rattle off that many crotches in a sentence and expect me not to lose it. And he's like, you're not the first. And I'm like, thank you. But yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm a child. I repeated kindergarten, okay? And I should have repeated it more than once. Probably a good 5 times. I should have been like 20 years old in kindergarten, being like, yep, I don't know, I keep eating glue. Keep eating glue. Mrs. Condon, that was her name, Mrs. Condon. She came around with the shoes, tie the laces. Couldn't tie the laces. I'll never forget this sound she made when I couldn't tie the laces. When I heard that sound, I thought, I'll be seeing her next year. Anyway, April, great line. PJ, thank you for pinning that. Tree Guy's search history must be wild. Wife comes home. I see her looking up crotches again. Timothy. I don't know. His name wasn't Timothy. Anyway, we have fun on this program. I've been thinking the same thing. What's happening? All right. I left off at giggling. Sorry. Sean, my fear is that teams are successfully adapting to the Eagles and the Eagles are not responding well. Hopefully, they prove me wrong. Sean, similar thought to you. Great point. While this game was unfolding, the thing that kept rattling around in my brain was the fact that Dallas Goedert was not a part of the game plan. It was the first time he wasn't a part of the game plan. At that same time, yes, I think defenses and offenses are starting to figure out the Eagles a little bit. The book is out, right? And even with Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, it was their first game with the team. They still allowed one big run in this game. They were great against the run in general as the game went on, so that was fine after the first possession. Eagles are making changes. Eagles have to make more changes offensively without Dallas Goedert. Eagles will only, I believe, improve defensively, especially against the run. So now what the Eagles are doing, they've adjusted to what the adjustment was. In other words, the other teams have decided we're going to run the ball against the Eagles and see how that works, and it worked out well for them, worked well for the Texans, worked obviously really well for the Commanders, worked well for the Colts in the opening drive for them in this game, but the Eagles made the adjustment to the adjustment with Ndamukong Suh and also with Linval Joseph. So that's good. And in doing that, you get a better version of Fletcher Cox. I think you get a better version of Hassan Reddick. You get a better version of Milt Williams. You get a better version of Brandon Graham. You get a better version of Josh Sweat. From building the inside of the defensive line and out, I think everybody gets better in that regard. So that's good. That's what I'll focus on. That's the adjustment to the adjustment. The Eagles are still now in the form of making the adjustment. They're still in the mode of making the adjustment to life without Dallas Goedert because he is vital to this offense. I cannot stress for people enough how vital he is for this offense. Now they're trying to make that adjustment as well. With that being said, it's going to come down to coaching and game prep before they take on a team like the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night. Packers, just when they thought they had figured it out, and not so fast. But when it comes to adjustments, the cliche is a cliche for a reason, because it's true. It's an adjustment. It's a game of adjustments, and that's what the Eagles are caught up in right now. Why was the middle of the field that wide open every play? Don't know. Clay, you got to go to the junkyard today? That's where you work. What in the holy pots and pans? Mullet petition for Alvarado? Welcome back. Enjoying Thanksgiving in the USA. Thanks, Mark. Hope all is well. Mullet, same to you, my friend. Same to you. Clay, is Eric Ebron still available? 1 catch for 7 yards by Stoll, not acceptable. I agree. Is Ebron? I don't know if Ebron's still out there. He may be. Who just released him? Some team that the Eagles faced. It's breaking my brain. Mullet, welcome back, Clay. Nice to see you. Mihai, good morning, Mark and everyone. Happy Victory Monday. You're damn right. Josh Allen beat the Bills, not the Vikings. Good point, Sean. Clay, I drink over there. Mihai, also happy Turkey week, everyone. It is Thanksgiving week. Special announcement coming. Tree guy search must be wild. I think repeating kindergarten is uttering ridiculous and damaging to a child needlessly. Sean, let me go ahead and vouch for the repeat kindergartners such as myself, because we are society. I definitely needed the repeat kindergarten. Even looking back on it, I probably should have been. I should have made the three-peat. I'm a three-peat kindergartner. Well, that's a brag. I went 3 times. Yeah, you know why? I don't stay inside the... Well, I'm no sheep. I don't stay inside the lines. Anyway. That is a true story about Mrs. Condon and the shoe. It wasn't even a real shoe. It was a piece of wood that had the drawing of a shoe on it and had 2 pieces of yarn you had to come out and tie as laces. But anyway, I definitely need to repeat kindergarten. If you ask my mom about why I repeated kindergarten, my mom says, well, we lived in New York at the time. We did. We moved from Ambler to Rochester, New York for a couple of years. And my dad's work was up there. And I remember what the hell was, oh gosh, St. John of the Cross was the school. And Mrs. Condon came around, and the law in New York was like you had to be above a certain age and whatever. I just missed the cutoff when they changed the rule or whatever. So I was always like the oldest in my grade after I was held back, obviously. But he asked my mom, and my mom's like, well, you had there was a law that prevented you from advancing a grade. And the law changed, and you had to stay back a year. And my dad, hey, Dad, why did I repeat kindergarten? You wanted to play too much. You wouldn't pay attention to anybody. Thanks, Dad. That's the right answer, Mom. That's the right answer. That's basically when people ask, what are your parents like? I tell them that story, and they're like, oh, I get it. That's basically the way to put it. Mullet, let's run it back. Let's run it back, Teach. Say to my kindergarten teacher, hey, Mrs. Condon, let's run it back. What were the last words of Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show? I had so much fun. If I could somehow magically, I'd like to do the whole thing all over again. Yep. He was 14 in kindergarten. It goes without saying. Oh my God, Clay, I'm a sucker for first and second generation S10s. Over my head, brother. I don't know what that means. Oh, you're talking about a car. Oh, Ebron's still a free agent. Yep, get him. April. Mark's just standing there trying to hold in, yelling, giggity, the whole time. You guys are great. Oh, wonderful chat check. One of your finest works, ladies and gentlemen, on the chat check. Let's move into the morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorcars.com. I gave you the snap counts. It was my goal in life today to give you the snap counts. I gave you those snap counts, so I'm happy to see that. 76ers, Joel Embiid went down in the 112-109 loss to the Timberwolves. Holy pots and pans, that scared the hell out of everybody. It looks like he'll be okay, just rolled his ankle a little bit. Tyrese Maxey being out 4 weeks, it looks like, with his small fracture in his foot. That's scary as hell. Don't like that. Sixers are back at it tomorrow night at home against Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons had himself a good game 2 nights ago, and everyone's really excited about that in Brooklyn. He had 22 points, I believe it was. Ben Simmons, the best part about his game, he took a shot from outside the paint. I saw everyone was really excited about his game 2 games ago, and every shot was in the semicircle. I saw the other shot chart from 2 nights ago, and there was 1 shot outside the paint. So that's the reason that the Nets fans should be all giddy. But 7:30 TNT, that will be the game coming up tomorrow night. Flyers. Flyers lost 7 in a row. They lost to the Habitants 5-4 most recently. They have been embarrassed. They're going to try to avoid a 7th straight loss. They've lost 6 in a row, excuse me. They're going to try to avoid a 7th straight loss tonight when they drop the puck with the Flames in South Philadelphia. That is a 7 o'clock puck drop. So there you go. Fun little announcement. Here's what we're going to do, people. And I'm really excited about this. I've never done anything like this before. This Wednesday night is the biggest party night of the year. I loved my years shortly after college, going out with my buddies. One of our parents would pick us up because we'd be just so annihilated. And we would just have ourselves a great time in town, and we all get together. We see the other people we grew up with that we haven't seen in forever, whatever. I love the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. So in honor of the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, we are going to do the Farzy Party Show, okay? It's going to be the Farzy Party Show Wednesday night, still trying to nail down the time, but Wednesday night right here, if you guys are home, regulars in the chat, please hit me up on social media somehow, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whatever it might be. And I want to send you guys a link to be on the show. And I want to do it Wednesday night. We're going to do our show Wednesday morning. I'm going to do the show Wednesday night and have a drink of choice. Everyone's hopefully home, safe, having themselves a good time. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. We're not all just getting drunk. All right. Well, I mean, I might, but to each their own. Proceed with your own risk. And I just want to sit, chat with you guys. I'll throw out some sports topics, get some vibes from you guys, see how you like the show, see how you don't like the show. We'll have a conversation, and we'll all just hang out. We'll have ourselves a drink. I will most likely be enjoying a fine Jack Daniels, and Maybe I'll do it outside. Maybe I'll smoke a cigar. I don't know. I doubt that, but because I want to be warm and toasty inside. But yeah, we're gonna have a Farzy party show Wednesday. Anyone, it's open invitation. If you guys want to, guys want to jump on, hit me up on social media. Hit me with a link, or hit me up with a DM, whatever it might be, and I'll get back to you guys. I'll send you a link, and you guys can jump on the show, and we'll have some conversation. We'll try to have as many people that our chat will allow. Actual live chatting, not me looking at a screen and reading to you guys aloud with my repeat kindergarten education. So there you go. So that's what we're going to do Wednesday night. So be on the lookout for that, and please hit me up. April, I didn't doubt it. I want in on the drink fest. Yes, no problem. PJ, I don't know if you're partying Wednesday night or not, but obviously you're invited. Damn. All right, awesome. So yeah, we'll have some fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Go Birds! Everybody. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. See you.